Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to the Infinite Escape Room Pubisode edition. You join our gang just after they've finished escaping John's penguin house, and they take a seat in the barren penguin pub, talk about bleak drink origins, the value of newbie teammates in escape rooms, philosophy, and, inevitably, penguins. Really, quite a bit about penguins. Okay, and here we are at the Baron Penguin, which, for clarity, is a penguin with a cape and some sort of crown and little tiny fish servants, not a penguin that's struggling with laying an egg, for clarity. It's on the sign, Michael. It's on the fucking sign. Anyway, we're in. Christ, this place is full. Jamie,
despite the name.
Jamie, could you go and break wind near that gaggle of crayfish over there, and we'll knit their table?
Fantastic. Give me just a second.
Nicely done. Okay, my round, lads. What we having?
I think I am having a Penderyn single malt, which is a lovely Welsh whiskey. I get a bottle every year from my mother-in-law. Bloody love this stuff. It's reliable, and I'm having it just with a single cube of ice. And it's absolutely divine. My tipple of choice.
So you know that, like with Scotch whiskey, you go to hell if you drink it with ice, right? Is it the same with Welsh whiskey, or is that more permissible?
I think... okay, so the right way to drink whiskey is however you enjoy whiskey.
Ooh,
I think anybody who tells you... No, I think anybody who tells you different can, quite frankly, stick their head in a wood chipper and turn it on. Yeah.
I like that they have to turn it on after they put the head in.
Yeah, and they have to be the one. They have to reach round and press the button.
Yep.
That's fair. And I'm Jamie, and I'm having a Infinite Escape Room Classic, a Hobgoblin Gold. Delicious.
Oh, lovely.
Ah,
Yeah. I mean, 90% of it is just me loving the label, but luckily it is a delicious beer.
I'm right there with you with Hobgoblin. I strongly suspect that if the label was different, I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
It's one of these examples of the power of marketing, because every time I do buy it and I drink it, I'm like, you're fine, but you're kind of just fine and a little bit weird.
yeah. If they called it Queef Fountain Mauve, I suppose it would probably be.
You know, I would
Yeah.
still probably buy it out of interest, though.
Yeah,
Can I get a bottle of Queef Fountain Mauve, please, barkeep?
Like, I wonder if you got Old Speckled Hen and Hobgoblin and changed the labels, or not Nuki Brown,
No.
Old Speckled Hen, then no one would know the bloody.
I would absolutely know the difference.
Old Speckled Hen, I wouldn't even think about buying based on the label. It doesn't, it's not got a mythical creature on the bottle, which is 90% of my decisions.
It's all a bit Tory voter, isn't it?
Yeah, Hobgoblin, though. That's a revolution. That's what that smells like.
That smells like deviancy.
That's me.
And I shall be having a 2008 vintage port to polish off the evening.
Ooh, with a little glass.
Lovely. However, there is a bleak story behind this port.
Of course there is. Of course there's a bleak
I shot
story.
a man for
Which
this.
slightly undermines the conceit of this whole thing. But okay, so we got given a bottle of this lovely organic port by my younger sister for Christmas, and a couple of weeks ago Sinead and I decided to open it. So I got the corkscrew out, dug into the cork and started winding, and the cork started disintegrating.
Oh,
No.
In the bottle. I couldn't get it out. Half of it was just in the port, and that's death. That's absolute death if the cork is just shattered in there. So I thought, okay, fuck, this was quite expensive wine. We have to salvage this somehow. So we emptied the port into a jug. At worst of the cork stayed in the bottle, but there's still a load of little bits in the jug. So then we sieved it, but there's still a load of little bits. So then we needed something like a muslin or something, some kind of cloth to pass it through. Could not find anything appropriate until I found some boxer shorts.
Oh.
Some boxer shorts that were past their best. A bit holey. Clean. Crucially clean. Like freshly laundered, but not going to wear those again. And the fabric is just the right, made of bamboo. Fabric's just the right sort of weave to be a good filter. So I stretched the boxer shorts across another jug, and then we filtered the port through my pants. I then poured the port into a different wine bottle, which we could then recork to store it. But I had a problem because the pants were quite absorbent and they absorbed an awful lot of the port. So I ended up wringing the pants out into my mouth to try and get some of the delicious nectar.
John, two
It
things.
was genuinely a photo of me wringing my own pants into my mouth.
We need this photo. This photo needs to go out with you.
That's in the show notes, surely.
But two things. First, is this just an elaborate story for how you've got red stains all over your pants? Second, when I introduced my whiskey and suggested there was a bit of ice in it, and you were like, "Oh, is that the way you drink whiskey?" As opposed to the man who is decanting ports through his own knickers. Jesus, John.
Out of necessity, I didn't want to do this. But the problem...
But I might as well enjoy it while I am.
You willingly put the ice in the glass. I had to filter this through my...
I mean, you didn't have to wring it into your mouth, though. That's a choice.
I didn't have to. That was yeah.
I mean, there's bathtub gin, but I've never heard of cod piece port before. That's amazing.
Hey.
But nobody has to filter port through their underpants, John.
But if you do, use bamboo, because that's the stuff that's going to get it done.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Remind me not to accept a drink at your house, John. Just in case.
Depends on the drink. Hey, Mike, do you want to drink it from the can like an animal or from the glass poured by me? From the can.
I want to from any sealed vessel, factory sealed vessel, please, John.
Like one of those countries where you don't drink the water. So, gentlemen, how did we find that room?
I enjoyed it. I am annoyed at myself that we went too far down the rabbit hole on one particular puzzle without enough information, and then chose to not do the same thing that we did before once we had all the information for that puzzle.
Yep, that was basically the trap. It was a pattern with a logic puzzle inside it, and one would only work with the other completed. I thought you'd figure... Basically, I thought all the moving parts would come together quicker, and you'd realize that you needed more, and you'd go back and fetch the key, and we'll come to that in a minute. And get the second started, that it would just be a case of unraveling that. But you pursued for so long with the original set of penguins, even though half the room remained completely undone and untouched. And you're like, maybe it's the other way round. Maybe it's youngest first. Maybe it's the number of dots. Maybe with all of these completely uncued ideas, rather than continuing to explore the room. It was
that is correct. We see a thing that has the slightest glimmer of an answer. I'm right, we'll pursue that until it's dead.
Every possible permutation. We will square hole, that triangle block, let's turn it around. If we turn it around enough times, it might fit in. I was thinking about this while I was having our post-puzzle Wii, as one does. But I think we got lost in the metagame aspect of this. And I think about this about real-life escape rooms as well. Is that it's not just a case sometimes of thinking, okay, what's the puzzle in front of me? But it's like, what does the person who made this puzzle want me to do? And I think I always expect John's mind to go in strange, loopy ways. So I very rarely go for the sensible solution because I've already, my brain has predetermined that it's like, oh, it's going to be some bizarre shit. It's going to be something strange where well, everybody knows that penguins have a superfluous thumb on their beak. And it'd be like, what? You don't know that? And for it to actually be kind of well-structured puzzle stuff, I think really threw me. I wasn't expecting it because it was fair. You fuck. And then it was so busy metagaming down the rabbit hole of being like, well, this, weird, basically my brain not going to the simple solutions or the straightforward solution because it's trying to think in curves.
I mean, case in point, a window that was perfectly openable that we just thought, well, that's not going to open. That fucker's solid.
I maintain.
To be fair to Michael, I struggle with this a lot because I don't want to... When you have an item that can be used when you find it, but you want that to be emergent, you want the team to discover that, it's really hard to describe it in such a way...
Doesn't give the game away.
...that the team can discover that it's usable without you telling them how to use it. Because everyone knows that you can open windows, but at the same time, only some windows. And like you said in the episode, Mike, you're like, this window that has a hinge upon it. I could have said that, but then you would have just instantly opened it.
Yeah, I mean, we smashed it with a penguin in the end, didn't we? So it's a happy ending.
I mean, sorry, I missed the with a penguin bit, so I might have to edit in a penguin.
No, I think I requested with a penguin. I think Jamie just smashed it open, presumably using the old South Wales.
I just headbutted it.
If you had smashed it with a penguin and the penguin died, the puzzle would have become unsolvable. Because when you went to feed the penguins, there would have been one of them
Just
missing.
one crawling on the floor on a single foot.
only.
Just one more fish before death.
Desperate to take its place in line.
Master John says I must be here, fourth in line.
For the penguin throne.
But it's the same thing, but when you first start with these kinds of puzzles, you see you see a door and it's not explicitly locked, it's not said. At first you'll go, I'll see if I can open the door, and the door is almost certainly locked. So over time you learn, I'm not going to bother doing that, because why would that be just open?
And then every now and again you're in a room where the door is just open and the GM's looking at you and sending messages going, guys, there's something really obvious that you have not tried here. Just open the fucking door.
Yeah.
In my old workplace, there was a door that the team opened with a key code very early on, and they opened the door. But the door's got a sort of self-closing thing on it, one of those kind of retracting things that closes it again. And the amount of teams that when the door closes again thought that meant that whole bit of the room was now closed off to them.
Oh, yeah.
Even though they could just put the key code in again and open the door again, was hilarious. It was amazing. People would go, okay, that's all dead to us now. That's all shut off. No, guys, it's just the door closes. What? The really smart teams were the teams that propped it open. It sounds so basic, but I could draw a dividing line between the good teams and the bad teams, with the ones who just thought, okay, this thing self-closes, we need it to be open. I'll just stick the toolbox against it or whatever, just something heavy to hold it there. There were lots of possibilities in the room to do that, and so many people just didn't, and then had to re-enter the code again and again and again, and never thought to prop the door open.
It's the interesting thing, and Jamie, you've probably got much more of this just because of the sheer amount of puzzles that you're immersed in on a day-to-day basis, but there's an interesting thing in how doing a lot of it slightly changes how you think and approach them. Like, basically, you approach it almost like a toolkit. You go, oh, it's this kind of puzzle. And I think a lot of the time, that's what we're not even smelling what's the solution to this puzzle. We're smelling what type of puzzle is this. And once you smelt the type of puzzle, you go, okay, now I know to look for this bit and this bit. And your mental schema build up around that.
However, that is also
A trap.
a potential trap. And again, in the real one, what I used to work in, I several times watched veteran teams completely fuck it. And almost invariably, it was because they had decided how this puzzle worked. Oh, I've done one of these. It's the laser puzzle or whatever. And would come up with some incredible reach of an answer that was nothing to do with what was in front of them, based on previous experience, rather than just letting the room give them the cues. And I'd often say to teams in the brief, if they said, "Oh, we've got a newbie here," I'd say, "Good,
yeah,
really good. That will help you because a fresh perspective who is not institutionalized by their own experience can be really good." And it was often the case.
We did an absolutely brilliant room in Milton Keynes. In fact, I'm going to get their name because I want to give them a shout out.
This was not a brilliant room, Michael. Is this the room I'm thinking of?
No. This is
that we did.
No, this is not. This is. Let's see.
Because I had issues with that room.
We have it documented, John. We have your issues with that room documented. Hang on.
Lazy.
Here we go.
Alexa cannot be the entire puzzle in a room. It's not okay.
What, as in Amazon Alexa?
Yes.
Oh God.
It wasn't the entire puzzle. Just throwing salad.
It was the hardest puzzle. It was like the penultimate.
Anyway,
ask Alexa.
So shout out to Cypher escape rooms in Bletchley at Hut 17, which is it's easily the best escape room I've done in Milton Keynes. It was great, beautifully designed, wonderful set. Host was great. You could leave your sweeties in the lobby, which was very much appreciated. Bit of the old brain sugar. I sort of nibbled on them throughout the room, which was much appreciated. But yeah, we sort of, when you say bringing in a new person, we did it myself, Laura, and Laura's little sister, who hasn't done a room before. Blasted through it, but we blasted through it in large part because Emma spotted a load of things that we just didn't at all, that we basically discarded as set dressing. And she went, oh, this, and this. And she did that a couple of times. And there was a bit where you were having to, I don't want to spoil anything, but there was a bit where you have to interact with a typewriter. And that's about all I'll say with that, but in a more complicated way. And she just went, oh, okay, and did it instantly. It's like, how have you done this whatsoever? And I was looking at it going, this looks complicated. And she'd looked at it and gone, oh, it's this. Click. Never done a room before. And yeah, totally agree with you essentially on that fresh perspective.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. When I've spoken to veteran teams about this, where they've got like 100 rooms or 200 rooms, and like the really good teams understand that this is a problem that they have and have to reckon with, and the bad teams who have just done a lot of rooms say the room is wrong. Have that sort of that response of no, that should have been that kind of puzzle, and the cues were wrong, and well, we've got a 90% success rate, so the cues weren't wrong.
Get off your high horse.
For most people, the cues are fine. I read an article about, it was kind of a sum up of philosophy, and the title of the article was it was one of those list things, to like 9 philosophical principles that you should use in your everyday life. And it was like a 5-minute read, and most of them I've forgotten, but one of them really stuck with me, and I think it's really useful for escape rooms as well as life. And basically, in a nutshell, it was seek clarity, not certainty.
That's a good one.
So don't seek to have a viewpoint confirmed or reinforced. Look honestly for more information to further your understanding about a given subject or issue. Because there's a humility in seeking clarity, and there's a lack of humility in seeking certainty that I think closes people down.
That's deep. I like it.
And we live in an age in which, in so much of our lives, we are closed down. We have our viewpoint, and we have decided that viewpoint is right, and it's very, very difficult to engage with people who have a very different viewpoint because we just think of them as bigoted or just wrong or stupid. And maybe they are stupid. Sometimes they're stupid. They're people being stupid. But I think a lot of the time, what's happened is everyone has been kind of self-reinforcing and seeking certainty, and then when they meet the other certainty, really struggle because nobody's looking for clarity.
Can I refer you to an episode of Pedagodzilla on Mesro's transformative learning?
You cross-pollinating bastard.
Well, it kind of addresses this. Or the reason it's in my head is because I'm currently writing up the book chapter for it.
What's the title again?
Mesro's transformative learning. The episode.
Typing that into your smartphone.
The title of the episode is "How Do Spooky Muppets Guide Scrooge Through Transformative Learning?"
Hey,
give it a listen.
Sorry, Jamie, I interrupted.
No, that's it is fascinating, like, observing people doing puzzles, and once you do it enough, you'll the psychology behind it, and how people think and interact, and how much baggage they can bring with them through, like the biases from doing 100 rooms or 1,000 rooms or one room. It's amazing, and I don't think it's been tapped that well yet. People have done like studies on it, but not nearly enough.
I feel like the conversations that Christina is having really start to address that, because they're approaching escape rooms from a semi-philosophical but also slightly kind of cognitivist perspective, which is really, really interesting, the links that they're pulling together.
Yeah. That's
keep an ear out for mine and Jamie's interviews with them in the near future.
Hey.
Accidental cross-pollination.
Speaking of which, Michael, you fisted a penguin.
Did I?
No, you didn't actually. You didn't actually. You spoke in a way that suggested that's what you were doing. No, it was all about the fucking key, which was the one bit of this puzzle that didn't really work.
Do you know what? I must have missed the fish-shaped key.
So I'm pretty sure it was in that. I'm really happy that Jamie said, yeah, I think it was there. But I'll go back and check, and if it's not there, then it will be there now.
You notice a fish shape.
I drew a regular key. That was my problem. I drew a regular key.
So what was supposed to happen there? And to be fair, maybe I didn't. This may have been due to a fuzzy bit of description. What was supposed to happen there was you were supposed to use the pole with the hook on it to reach through the window and basically dangle a real fish that the penguin would want to eat on or next to or on top of the fish key. So the penguin eats the whole thing, starts to choke, and runs out with the fish key.
Okay.
So when you started throwing fish at it, you were completely on the right track. You just didn't have the right tool. But then you guys got the tool and then said, oh, can't we just reach the key from the other side, from the penguin hole with the stick? And I said, no, you can't reach it because that's not the way you're supposed to solve the puzzle. And then in my head, I went, oh, fuck. You can reach it because you have to reach it from one side or the other with the stick. Shit, what have I said? And what I should have done is I should have described the room initially in such a way that the cage was quite close to the window side of the room, but quite a long way from the penguin hole side of the room, so that you could only have put the stick through the window side to get to the key. So there was a bit of a fuzzy description, which, given that I came up with the specifics of this in 90 minutes, I'm happy enough with.
I feel like with puzzles like that, though, you always have to kind of, if somebody comes up with a workable solution, you have to like in the same way that my Moof episode, my Museum of Figurines, and they were like, we climb up Batman's nipples and jump on, and you're like, okay, I guess, yeah, that does work. Piss, with the bits that I've given you and my mental picture of this room, that really does work. Fuck. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. It's the curse of the alternative solve.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, John, even with that description that you've described, that didn't match my mental picture of the room, so I think I would have struggled with that.
Interesting. It's always the gap between what you describe and what people draw, either on paper or in their head, is a fascinating one, because you can describe something quite carefully, and then people come up with a whole variety of different interpretations, like Chinese whispers.
Yeah. I mean, that's a puzzle in itself. Just
John's seed. John, have you got any interesting penguin trivia for us?
I have. Humboldt penguins do genuinely all have different spots. They are unique to each penguin, much like a human fingerprint. I went with a huddle of penguins, which is correct. However, there are other names for a group of penguins. Now, I don't want the bit about the BBC Director General. Where's it gone? That did not land at all. I was disappointed.
We're not as cultured as you, John.
I'm sure our American listeners will understand who he is.
Oh, yeah, they'll love it.
Or our other British listeners who will be equally confused.
So, collective nouns for penguins. There are actually several of them. There can be a huddle of penguins, a waddle of penguins, a rookery of penguins, or a colony of penguins. So, yes, there are various different ways of describing penguins in that way. But, yes, this is genuinely based on the penguin enclosure at Wingham Zoo in East Kent, which I've been to several times. And I wanted to take photos of the penguins and use the photos.
Oh, that would have been lovely.
But the problem is it didn't quite work, because while the spot patterns are very distinctive, it's quite difficult to sort of pass that into a pattern that you can then repeat with just painted dots and it work well and be clear. So there was a big readability issue. So in the end, I dumped it, but kept the core idea. Also, in the original idea for the room, you were going to time travel. There was going to be a radio playing whatever was the current number one, and the key was not unlocking a chest; it was unlocking a genuine thing that exists in this penguin enclosure, which is this sort of central hole in the ground, which has a cage over the top of it, so the penguins can't go in. And it's where the pool sort of overflows into, and the water gets recycled by pump. And that was going to be a time-traveling vortex into the penguin past. And you'd come out, and there would be a different song playing on the radio, different year.
Nice.
And you would have a different group of penguins in front of you, and that's how you would know. But I thought that was too convoluted, so I just went with, there's an old version of the sign.
To be fair, I think that worked nicely, though. That and the statement works nicely. That's why I was begrudgingly sitting there going, that's a well put together puzzle. Piss. Like that worked really well. Also, you couldn't pay me to stand in penguin water, because penguin water, Christ, they are fucking filthy. The stench of penguin water is terrible.
They poo a lot. And it is indeed that hazy green. Yes, you fell deliciously into my trap. You attacked the puzzle from all the right angles, lacked the correct information, abandoned one of your angles as incorrect, and then failed to return to it later without a prompt when you had all the right information. It was delicious.
Well, I'm happy for you, John.
I miss John being away. That was great.
Oh, that's last orders, gentlemen. Is anybody coming in hot?
I've got something. It's less of a coming in hot, like a rant, but more of a thing that I did recently, which I was.
Ooh, do tell.
So last week, me and my good lady wife spent the evening in a luxury overnight mystery escape immersive event evening, which is all of those things rolled into one, called the Locksmith's Dream. So we ended up going to this manor house in Monmouthshire called Treowen, and we got there at like midday on a Wednesday, and we left at midday the following day. And that, barring a little bit of sleep, that entire 24-hour period was us traipsing up and down stairs, finding secret passageways, interacting with actors, solving codes, unlocking lockboxes, finding snippets of mysteries, and just
Okay, whoa. Slow down. So are you the only people there, or are there multiple, like, lots of guests and...
There's about 20 of us altogether. So there's 11 rooms in the manor. It's like a proper 17th century manor house. There's 11 rooms, 2 people per room. So there's around 22 of us altogether. Each couple that goes there is given a persona. So we were Lord and Lady Vine. We were given a masquerade mask, a little briefing on the game itself, and we also had a sponsor. There were like half a dozen factions in this game, all with different motivations, and your reason for being there is to collect little snippets of lore left behind by the gods that meet at this location once a year, and you're to collect these bits of lore to give to your sponsor.
Oh, I love it.
It's all based on the game Cultist Simulator.
Okay.
I've heard good things. I've heard really good things.
And it's the single most immersive thing I've been to the entire time we were there. There was about half a dozen actors that are there who didn't drop character the entire time we were there, even when like they weren't being observed. 2 of the actors, I was sort of spying on them a little bit, doing my creep, and I saw 2 of them interacting with each other, talking about certain lockboxes and clues around the family history. As far as I'm aware, they didn't know anybody else was within earshot, but they still carried on. And I used that little snippet of lore to unlock one of the boxes somewhere else in the house.
Okay, so there's 2 possibilities here. 1, Jamie's a cheating scumbag. 2, they genuinely do that irrespective of whether anyone's there. Actually, the third possibility is they have a way of queuing, of knowing that someone is there. Because I'm just thinking for the sheer length of time. So how does sleep work in this? Does everyone go to bed at a certain point? Like, at what point does everyone kind of come off shift? Because you've got to sleep in that.
So the day is split into like a day segment and a night segment. So the day segment, we have lunch. We just wander around the grounds and we can start collecting these little snippets of lore that are dotted around the house, interacting with the characters and getting more information around the story. Then there's like a 7-course dinner, and then you go to your room and you get your masquerade mask. That becomes the House of the Moon, and that's when things get more dangerous. You're not allowed to be anywhere in the house, more or less, without your mask. Otherwise, fucking interdimensional entities will
Very punch drunk.
Yeah. So then that goes on till about 11 o'clock midnight. Everyone retires to their rooms and winds down, and then we're up again at 7 a.m. for breakfast, and it starts again. So apart from the sleeping bit, they're all there in character pretty much all the time. And it's because it's like a grade 1 or 2 listed building, there's not many mod cons installed. So like CCTV and stuff, as far as I'm aware, isn't a thing. So they can't observe you to know that someone's coming to be in character. They are just there constantly. And it was amazing. And it's one of those things where it's like part escape room, part LARP, part immersive theatre, part mystery dinner, part roleplay.
There's a big murder mystery vibe there too.
Yeah. And there's like, because it's an old house, there's actual like priest holes under the floorboards that we discovered and were encouraged to visit.
Wow.
It was nuts. Absolutely nuts. Locksmith Stream is called.
Locksmith Stream.
Huh.
There'll be a link to this in the show
Jamie,
notes.
how much?
It's the kind of thing that you would do for a special occasion or an anniversary.
Okay, so
yeah.
Wait, $1,000?
Yeah.
North of $1,000.
It's
okay. Mike's face is doing the Scream painting right now.
It's definitely,
and now he looks like a bulldog.
It's definitely a luxury thing, but it does show with the attention to detail in everything that's been put in there. The actors that were there, like the meals they were serving and things like that. It was very much
so it's all included: the bed, the food. Okay, what are we talking, Michael? You've got the page in front of you.
Yeah, I'd say Google it yourself. I'd say go to locksmithdream.com and just clench everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, Laura has been to this house before. It turns out Laura used to stay there when she was younger, from time to time, with family. She speaks very highly of it, and you should have seen the glee coming off of Jamie coming out the back end of this, which speaks volumes. So I'll be honest with you. I might have to look into that.
It was amazing.
Even at them prices, I might have to look into that.
And if like because I know the people that were there was a really
Oh my God.
there was a really diverse mix of people. So me and him were the escape room crowd. There were a pair of LARPers there. There were a pair of immersive theatre goers there. There were a lot of people there that were just really big fans of the Cultist Simulator universe. But I know that they are planning in the future similar experiences at the same location, but based on Lovecraft lore and Cthulhu-esque, which is going to be
amazing.
terrifying, but also amazing. So check it out.
Wow. Fair enough. What a recommendation.
I'll jump in with a quick hotness as well. Not even a hotness, just a quick plug really. Waffled on about Pedagodzilla earlier. We're an episode coming out by the time that this has released. About
When does this release, Michael? I don't know when this releases.
I've missed you so much, John. This episode will be releasing, I think, on either the 16th or 23rd. Yeah.
Oh, those goddamn Patreons. We love you.
Yeah, so quick plug. By the time that this releases, there'll be an episode out on Pedagodzilla on communities of practice. It'll be our second time talking about communities of practice. We'll be doing it with the Copyright Waffle people, but critically, it's communities of practice understood through the Muppet Show. But also talking about how to essentially establish a community of practice yourself. And if you are a person what works with other people, and you're wondering why these people are either great and you love working with them and you learn a lot around them, or they suck and you hate your job and everything to do with it, then this could be the episode for you.
Superb.
Well, and on that note, I think the pub is closing its doors, so we better head on home to our bed.
First, a kebab and
wives.
chips on the way.
Oh, and some scampi fries for the road.
Come on, now we're talking.
No. I'm having the seal jerky. Delicious.
I feel like there's an untapped joke there of like, how do you make a seal jerky or something? But
There's definitely something. I'll be honest, I wrote that very quickly with about 4 minutes before the episode was due to run. So there was definitely, I was writing it going, there's some potential for something here, and I'm just not.
How do you make a seal jerky quickly? Something like there's something in there, but
stick Michael's fishy hand up it, I guess, maybe.
that feels like it's just penetrating a seal, really, isn't it? Just
Also,
hello, officer.
Final fact. So I had a bad ending.
Oh,
If you fail, would you like the bad
please.
ending?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so here's the bad ending. With a sickening roar, the bear completes his meditation. He whips out a claw, reaches through the bars, and in one deft move, cuts your timber lock in two. The gate swings open. The bear bares his claws, gnashes his teeth, licks his lips, and then stops. He stares not at you, but past you, as a huddle of penguins somersault to your side. One of them whips out a cigar, breathes the smoke in deeply, looks at the bear and says, "Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave." The bear flees, terrified. It had never seen a penguin before.
I love it.
I like that.
I'm getting sued.
I like that penguin. The Madagascar penguins are cool. How's that a bad
are.
ending? That feels like a good ending.
Well, yeah, it's probably the more fun of the two. But fun fact, a polar bear's never met a penguin.
What? Even in captivity?
Polar bears live in the Arctic. Penguins live generally in the
Right, so-
Antarctic.
Edit this
they're-
fact backwards. This fact needs to be in that bit of the show.
They're as far away from each other as it is geographically possible to
Right,
be.
so we need to get a GoFundMe on the go.
To get a penguin, I thought it would be like an elephant meeting a mouse, that the giant creature would just go, "Oh my god,"
yeah.
and flee.
I mean, they should meet. They
Well,
should
it
meet in
turns
the middle.
yeah.
So it cuts on travel.
At the equator, they meet. Ironically, probably in Madagascar.
That's true.
That's about
Like-
right.
They're fucking hot now.
And a penguin.
Like matter and antimatter, they meet and suddenly you've got a winged bear that's waterproof. You're like, no!
They meet.
Or the penguin eats the bear. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah. There'd definitely be some
Unforeseen circumstances.
unforeseen
That's the kind of
circumstances.
bullshit a
Yeah,
penguin would pull. To be fair,
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's make it happen.
Oh, and all of the penguins were named after famous penguins. So you've got Pingu and Mumble, and the some of the penguins from Madagascar.
Oh.
All of them had penguin names.
Who's Mumble?
Mumble's from Happy Feet.
I've only ever
Mumble's
seen...
Elijah Wood's character in Happy
I've seen
Feet.
like 5 minutes of the movie.
Who the fuck is Chili Willy?
Isn't Chili Willy the person that used to get the ice cream
Chili Willy-
from Chinese restaurants?
He is a cartoon character. He is from the 50s.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I recognise
It's
that.
that one. It's that one. That guy.
Wow, they could get away with anything in the 50s, couldn't they?
Makes me wonder, does the penguin on the penguin bar have a name?
The penguin bar.
The biscuit.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, the penguin.
Oh! I don't know, but I really hope that it's getting royalties.
Let's have a look.
They definitely serve them.
Oh, hang on. I think... I've got it. Yeah, there is one. You're not going to believe this.
Have I missed a crucial penguin possibility here?
Yeah, his name's Tim Davis. Turns out lots of people know that.
And on that note, what a callback. If anyone out there remembers that callback, then they have an incredible brain. Right, finish your drinks, lads. Home time.
Night-night, everybody. Drive safe.
Good night. Love you.
Bye.
Ciao for now.